So Blizzard gave us a lot of information about Season 1 and how to better prepare for it. There are a few things that have changed since we last talked about it, and of course there are some things that you're going to want to do right now because you still have 2 more weeks to do everything in that time, and even more so there are a lot more things now carrying over compared to what we knew previously, including all of the renown, all of the map completion, and much more on top. So I'm going to also go over my strategy in the meantime, and let's dive right in. Now, one of the first things you're going to want to immediately do, which I assume 99.9% of you already did, is to finish the main campaign of Diablo 4. This is going to be needed because Season 1 main story starts after the events of the one in the base game. So on day 1, all you have to do is create a character. This is going to let you now skip the main campaign and you can then jump straight into the Season 1 new content. Now, this also brings us to the stuff that carries over to your future, existing, and even seasonal characters. And yes, this is now also going to include all the renown that you've completed, all the altars of Lilith, which was already the case, but even the map completion, the map clear is going to be included here too. So how this works is pretty simple. On July 20th or 18 or whenever that patch goes live before Season 1, you just need to log on once on the character on your account with the highest amount of progress. And once you do that, this will immediately propagate all that progress account-wide for all of your existing and future characters. So this means if you log on your alt, for example, it will no longer have an empty map, but instead it will be exactly as it is on your main, and this also includes Renown, Altars of Lilith, and pretty much everything else. But it doesn't stop there because Blizzard implemented or will implement one more big change, especially for those who have characters with different progression and want to combine all of that for their account. So let's say, for example, you have multiple characters, some of them discovered a certain part of the map, some of them completed certain missions, and some of them maybe found altars. You can just log on all of them and all of that progress will propagate from each one of them, and then it will combine account-wide so that it fully benefits your entire account. I think this is a tremendous change. It's amazing for those who didn't know which character to pick or maybe just had way too many but didn't want to repeat that progression. There's also not going to be any time limit to do this, so as soon as that patch goes live before Season 1 starts, you can just jump into the characters at any point and all of this will happen seamlessly without having to do anything outside of just logging on those characters. So this brings us to what you need to do right now to better prepare for Season 1. And first things first, complete Renown ASAP to get the extra skill points and the Paragon points, which will make leveling much faster on your seasonal characters. You will get as such 10 extra skill points and 20 extra Paragon points, which will help a ton a low level character to get a stronger build and get leveling faster than normal. Start with the strongholds in each region since they give you the highest renown. They also unlock new fast travel spots and they also unlock access to dungeons because some of them do have a couple of dungeons here and there that you cannot access otherwise. From this point, move on to the dungeons. Reason being is because you will need to unlock all the legendary aspects in the Codex of Power. Let's say you want to play a different class than the one you have right now. You don't want to get stuck into doing the old content in the Season 1. Just jump straight into it with the powers and immediately have a build going from pretty much level 1 or 10 or 20 whenever you are lucky with the drops. But it's going to help a ton to not waste any more time to do that. I recommend doing it on World Tier 1 or Adventure Mode since you don't really need to do it on a higher difficulty. You just need those legendary aspects, so do it that way. From this point on, you will want to go ahead and grab the Altars of Lilith. Now, these look annoying at the first glance, but trust me, they go much faster than you think. You can simply follow one of the many map routes people posted since day 1, which take no longer than 30 minutes per each region to complete. In this case, just a few hours in a day is all you need to get all the altars in the game, and you do it once, and that's going to be propagated for all of your future and existing characters. Between these, you're going to get a ton of extra stats that you cannot otherwise, and again, they will help a ton to become stronger earlier and as such, level up faster. Once you get just these three right here, which is also going to give you a lot of map completion and fog clear, I did not even need to focus on the side missions to reach the maximum in most of the zones I completed, or at most I just needed to touch like a couple of them, and that was basically it. So if you dread doing side missions, you can just focus on these instead, since they give you much higher benefits. Now, the next point is going to be a big question, and that is, which class should you play in Season 1, or any season for that matter? So it all depends a bit on your strategy, but the way I'm doing this is basically starting with a class that I have played the least with so far in the base experience of Diablo 4. For me, that would be the Druid, since it's the only one left to reach max level, but of course, you might go with a different one. Personally, I find it that it keeps the game fresh for me if I play with a class that I haven't tested too much, compared to going with one that I mained before and already know the ins and outs of. Plus, it just revitalizes my passion of the game when I try new characters out. Even more so, once the season is over, that character gets migrated back to the Eternal Realm and you can continue playing with it from that point on. But by then, you already benefited from the accelerated leveling speed from the seasonal event, the new mechanics, plus all of the other stuff that is added in terms of content. This will always be the case no matter in which season you play. There will always be mechanics to make the leveling speed faster in the seasonal realm compared to playing in the eternal one. We also had a glimpse into how the one in season 1 works, which comes in the form of these blessings, and these already give you an XP boost at the start of level 40, so you already get that extra XP from defeating monsters, which is going to make the leveling speed much faster. Now, if you don't want to take part in the seasonal event and don't want to level up a new character, that's totally fine, and there are still some benefits for you to play during Season 1 on your max level character. Because on the Eternal Realm, there's also going to be some additional legendary items, new aspects, and even unique new gear that can also drop in the Eternal Realm, not just the seasonal one. So let's say, for example, you're maxed out character right as Season 1 starts and these items become available. You can go ahead, complete Nightmare Dungeons or maybe some Hell Tides, since they have been altered to also drop uniques now, and basically have a much faster chance than seasonal characters in the first starting days to get a hold of these new legendary items and powers. So you can totally test these out, and from what Blizzard has discussed up until this point, it seems that a lot of them introduce new powers that might promote new types of builds for most, if not all, of the classes. So it remains to be seen how these look, but it sounds interesting, and you don't have to be tied to the seasonal event to get many of these. However, there are still some exclusive powers that are tied to taking part in Season 1, and we've seen that most of these actually drop as you complete seasonal chapters. There's like a handful of them that are already given by just completing the Season 1, Chapter 1, and there's probably gonna be just as many for the remaining 6 one, all the way to the max of 7. So you're still going to want to maybe take part in these. They are free, they provide new powers, and once the season is gone, you cannot get them back unless maybe Blizzard finds a way to reintroduce them at a later date. But otherwise, you're missing out on a ton of very strong powers, and as such, maybe even completely new and awesome builds that you cannot have access to in the Eternal Realm. On top of that, there's also the free Battle Pass, which gives you some cool cosmetics, and if you got the deluxe edition of Diablo 4 already, you already have the premium version of the Battle Pass included with that deluxe edition for Season 1. So you can get access to this really awesome armor set for all classes, plus additional cosmetic transmogs for your weapons. But yeah, this is pretty much it with how I'm also preparing for Season 1. Let me know down below if you're doing anything else. So yeah, this is pretty much it with the video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.